think I was calling this the casual cast
Okay.
originally. Uh, just as a new format now. It actually has a format now. So we're basically going to start out with introductions. Um, I'm Zach, otherwise known as Dark Thief Jing. I've been playing since. Well, I played when the game first came out, took like a 10-year break, and I've been playing for the last like 3 or 4 years. I came back when like Goki Firewall Gumblar was making people cry at tournaments. Uh, I'm honestly not really sure what deck I'm going to be playing this upcoming format. I was playing Zoo Brigade, and now Dryden's gone. Go ahead.
Kyle, also known as Cyclops. Been played when the game first came out, and then took a longer break than 10 years, and just came back to it last year, late last year, I think it was.
I think so.
And since then, I've been trying to find something like a niche or something that I could get along with. Cyber Dragon was a decent help for hires. It was always fun. Uh,
Dinah is coming off the ban list for Duel Links.
there we go. Nice. Well, that's the reason why I started playing Fires. It's because of that. And then I was playing Dino, and unfortunately Konami read Misk, so I'm gonna do a scrap Dino now for this. I guess I don't know.
Let's say the format that's coming up.
Format, yeah.
You're probably hearing a bone. That's my dog. He decided to join us. But yeah, so we're gonna start with the new ban list. So we have the list pulled up here. There wasn't a ton that was hit, but what they did made an impact. LB and Trident were both banned. As he said, Konami finally read Misk and put it to 1. Skullcrabat Joker came to 1. Striker Dragon went to 1. Stalio to 1. Everybody's favorite, Engage, to 1. Double Iris was put to 2, and Symbol of Heritage came off the list. Honestly, like, Symbol of Heritage, from what I could find, I wasn't playing when this card was apparently a problem, but it sounds like it was just used in, like, FTKs, for stuff like Lone Fire Blossom. I saw a weird combo that used, aliens, to, I think, burn somebody out. Double Iris to 2 is fine. I've seen Pendulum lists that are using the 1 Joker, the 2 Double Iris, and they're not really doing anything special. It was ending on like Dagda with a set scythe. Engage to 1 is, oh my god. It's only 1 card, but they do have ways, like plenty of ways to find it. Everybody buy your crows. Kyle got his today.
Yeah.
Stalio to 1 is fine. They've kind of moved on to other like play paths. It does help consistency a bit, because now you can actually like special summon out the Gazelle if you didn't draw it, and if you didn't open like Circle or Mining. Yeah, so Striker Dragon to 1 hurts like the long game of the deck, and because usually in like the initial combo you would use at least 2 Striker Dragon. 1 initially to search out Boot Sector, and then 1 later to either give yourself an arrow, or to add to special summon another dragon back. Yeah, LB getting banned just completely changes the combo path of the deck. Misk hurts consistency.
Yeah, it really does. especially if Mist gets any form of, countered, that's basically it for it, and then you got to try to find other ways to get to what you need, and maybe hard draw into a UCT like I usually do. I draw into one at least. But other than that, the Misk is definitely a big hit to dinos, and now it's more, build your board as opposed to tear down your opponent's board.
That's more the scrap package settling in.
Yeah.
They didn't really have like a really good idea of going first before. Like they've done combo paths before, where I've seen them end on like Cymorg with Wind Barrier, or like back in the days of Link Cross, they would go through that combo. But yeah, Dinos recently had switched into more of a going second variant where you were just playing like triple Lightning Storm, triple Droplet, like all these going second cards, and just tear down your opponent's board and try to OTK or leave them with nothing. Yeah, Mist to 1 makes them a little more like inconsistent and just more fragile overall, because now your plays aren't always protected. Like your opponent can actually hand trap you now. Imagine that. Trident getting banned makes a lot more sense now that they've announced Utopic Future Dragon coming in King's Court. That card in Zodiac was a big problem in the OCG for a while, so I could see them not wanting that to continue over here, especially with Zoo-Brigade already being an issue over here. And like I said, LP getting banned just completely changes the combo path for Dragon Link.
Along with Utopic Future Dragon coming in King's Court, they also got the reprint of Lightning Storm now, so
that'll be nice. Lightning Storm getting a reprint, Dolka getting a reprint. It's almost like they looked at Dino players and went, hey, sorry about Misk. Here's a cheap Dolka and a cheaper Lightning Storm.
Which is nice, as opposed to the, X amount of dollars that Lightning Storm originally was.
So we wanted to talk about some of the fallout from this. We wanted to start with the decks that are getting hit, and then we'll move on to the stuff that is like gaining power. As we've been talking about Dino, we actually were playing a bit, like testing a bit earlier, and I don't know if he was just getting unlucky, but damn, those are some hard bricks.
Yeah, wasn't too happy with them. Drawn into 2 Lost Worlds, Cosmic, and another. I think like a Fossil Dig and a Scrap Raptor.
Yeah,
it wasn't ideal. Can't really move forward too much with it. I mean, with the Fossil Dig you could, but other than that,
Yeah, I mean, if somebody ashes your Fossil Dig there, you're just kind of dead in the water.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Dino, like, I would say definitely has some labbing to do. Like, part of it is for sure deck building. Like you can fix some consistency issues with just changing around how the deck's built. So, like, they're already running Prosperity. You don't really want to run like Prosperity and Extrav. And you don't really want to run Desires when you can just straight up banish your Misk without ever getting to use it. I could see people trying Desires and like immediately coming off of it.
First time they banish that Misk, or both are used.
Yeah,
just there.
I did see, I think it was Reddit. Somebody was saying that they wanted to try running, or they had tried running Nemesis Keystone. That has an effect to add one of your banished monsters back to your hand, and then special summon Keystone as a way to like recycle the Misk. It's not bad as like a one of. It's definitely worth considering. I said the format hasn't even technically started yet, so it's definitely still early.
Yeah.
And I don't think Misk is coming back to 3 anytime soon, so they have plenty of time to lab. Dragon Link is another one that's definitely going to be on the deck building side. You lost LP, you lost 2 Striker Dragons. It's gonna get rough. I saw Revs put up a video about how a Crusadia Dragon Link can still function just fine without LP and with 1 Striker, but it still seemed kind of fragile. Lithium put up a video that was leaning a little more heavy on the Dragon Maid package. I think Chamber had gone down to like 1 copy in most Dragon Link decks recently, and he was running 2. He also wasn't running Black Metal Dragon because of it being more of like an LP target. Sorry, I know you don't know much about Dragon Link.
It was just never a deck that I chose to play myself. Like the bigger decks where you can.
You like Unga Bunga.
Basically, big things go burr.
Yeah. Large number goes burr.
Yeah.
I actually have Dragon Link in paper and tried to play it a while back. I think that was around the time when Chamber started getting thrown in the deck. And I just decided, like, no. Like, I'm not paying $60 or $70 for Chamber plus however much it was for tidying. I'd rather just play one of my other decks. Like, Dragon Link is still playable without those. It's just a lot weaker to Dark Rule or no more. Zoo Brigade. Losing Dryden. I've seen people saying they're going to stick with the Zoo package. Even though it's essentially just Zeus Turbo at this point for that part of the deck. I used to play Melfi Tri Brigade, which was fun.
It was just complete jank.
It was fun.
There's no need for it.
You would summon out like Ancient Warriors, end phase summon a puppy and a caddy. Melfi of the Forest was adding a Melfi to the hand and negating a monster. Joyous Melfis could summon Zeus. I've seen people say about like Ancient Warrior, Tri Brigade. There's always Bird Up, which is Lyrilusk, Tri Brigade. That would be a really great option if Synchro Storm didn't get pushed back to January.
Yeah.
And all of the new Lyrilusk stuff that's really good for the deck isn't coming over here until January. That's just disappointing. Yeah, I'm sure the deck's still gonna be around. It still has power plays, and I think I saw something about like a trap variant of just Tri Brigade, like Tri Brigade Pure running a bunch of power traps. Probably like Ice Dragon's Prison, Torrential, stuff like that. Usually you think like Dynamicious and stuff, but I don't think Tri Brigade wants to be discarding too much for cost. Or, well, Dynamicious' effect, but you get the point. As far as stuff that's coming back, I'm actually going to leave the elephant in the room for last. So we'll start with Pendulum. Pendulum? Like I said, Skullcrobat and Double Iris. Most of what I'm seeing online from people labbing it so far is ending on just, like, Dagda with a set scythe and a Tornado Dragon. And then, like, I think the Pendulum Graphs active. So you have, like, you can lock them out of the extra deck, and then you might have, like, a single, like, 1 or 2 pops, which for most decks is, like, enough to shut them out for at least a turn. But long term, I just don't see it being enough. It's still like fairly fragile. It's still prone to bricks. It might turn out to be like a rogue tier deck, but I just don't see it doing too much, unfortunately. I don't really see it doing a whole lot unless they give us like Electromite back. Or honestly, let's go the Striker route here. Let's free every Pendulum that isn't Electromite.
Okay.
Let's get back 3 Double Iris, 3 Astrograph, 3 Joker, 3 Monkey Board. You can keep Supreme King Dragon Starving Venom on the list. That's fine. But just give us 3 of everything else and see if the deck does anything.
Think it would?
No.
No.
So I wasn't playing when Pendulum was at full strength with Electromite, but I've seen what it can do.
Yeah.
It still seemed like it leaned pretty heavily on Electromite, to the point where it was using Supreme King Dragon Starving Venom to loop Electromite's effect and use it a second time. From what I understand, Monkey Board is a 1-card set of scales.
Okay.
Joker on normal summon adds like a Magician, Odd Eyes, or Perform a Pal Pendulum monster from deck to hand.
Yeah.
Astrograph is pretty solid. If a card on your field is destroyed, you can special summon him. And he's like 2,500. And Double Iris adds the Pendulum Graph, Spells and Traps.
Okay.
Spell and Trap. I think there's 1 each. I don't think all those things combined would still be tier 1 at this point. Yeah, that's something I'd like to see. And I'll just get into my next thought after we go through this. So the next deck would be Salamangreat. Getting Stalio back. Like I said, it helps consistency a bit. But it's not like a go-to anymore. So initially what would happen, like back when Salad was full power, they would go into Stalio early to summon out like a Jaguar so that they could loop Jaguar.
Yeah.
But the thing with Stalio is that it locks you into fire monster effects for the rest of the turn. Nowadays the deck looks to finish games with Access Code Talker. You know who's useless when you're locked in the fire effects?
Access.
So I see Stalio's more of like a turn 1 play.
Yeah.
Or like, I can't finish the game, I just want to like put up a bit of presence, like that kind of situation.
Yeah.
But the deck runs so many... It's adapted so well to running non-fire monsters out of the extra deck. That I honestly think 1 copy is perfectly fine. Summoning from the deck is really strong, and I think it's like a non-targeting bounce if it's linked off. That's really good. But that used to be used as part of your ending the game. You would bounce something back so that you could finish them. And you won't really be able to do that anymore. I honestly don't really see a whole lot of change coming for Salad.
But with the Dinos getting hit and Striker or Dragon Link getting hit,
I could definitely see it being like a tier 2, like coming up from Rogue into tier 2.
Yeah, definitely.
Because I think a lot of these hits, more so than like destroying decks, they brought power levels closer.
Yeah, like they gave more room for the Rogue decks or the tier 3s to breathe.
Yeah.
At least be somewhat competitive with the top deck.
Yeah. So I'm going to move on to the elephant in the room, which is Striker, getting Engage back to 1. This could be an entire video on its own, honestly, going through how many issues this could cause. Kyle never played when Striker was full power.
I never played when Salamangreat was full power either.
Yeah, well, it was the same time.
Yeah.
There's that people actually started playing it as a format. Like, you know how there's like GOAT format?
Yeah.
People started doing like TOS format, which was like Thunder Dragon, Orcust, Striker, and Salad.
Okay.
Yeah, so like all 4 of those decks were full power at the same time, which is why personally I'm a little hurt that they gave Salad and Striker their banned card back, but didn't give Heart Horror back to 1. I just want to play my Orcust. I'll get into Colossus after I'm done here.
I keep forgetting that you're an Orcust.
Love Orc. I was literally just playing on my Galatea mat. I got my freaking Orcust binder coming in the mail, like, hopefully sometime this year.
You know what you probably don't have coming this year? Heart Horror.
Yeah, so Engage was nasty at 3. One of my worst memories of the card was watching finals of like a YCS, and it was Striker against Orcust, and the Striker player used Engage 3 times in 1 turn. If you see that card 2 times in 1 turn, you're probably not winning that duel. Like, especially if they're adding and drawing off of it both times, they're probably gonna outpace you.
Yeah. But to see it 3 times.
It was so disgusting. They like Engage, added the card, they drew Engage off of Engage.
Oh.
Which is the exact opposite feeling of drawing Desires off of Desires.
Yeah.
Like, that's like an early Christmas present. But I think 1 Engage, honestly, should be fine, considering the power level of the format right now.
Yeah.
Just gonna have to start siding DD Crow if the deck really becomes an issue. Like, you just DD Crow their Engage and move on. They can still play without it. They're just not going to be accruing advantage as much. I remember a duel that I had. I don't think Striker was at full power anymore, but somebody was still playing it at locals. But Called By, I think, was at 3, and I think Crow was at 3 in the format. I ended up banishing all 3 of their Rays.
Yeah, that'll slow the deck down.
Yeah. Because Hornet Drones has been at 1, oh god, for like 2 years. That was one of the first cards to get hit, just because it's generic. It just gives you a token. But yeah, overall, I think Striker should be fine, and I know that opinion's in the minority. I don't think it's like... I don't even know if it's tier 1, honestly. I tested it a bit against his dinos, and it did pretty well. But I did have a lot of hands that really didn't do anything. Like, the only reason I survived was because he bricked.
Yeah.
So it definitely has those hands. So I'm gonna talk about Colossus, because I had talked about the other 3 decks and how 2 of them got a card unbanned. I was saying to you the other day that honestly I think Drytron is the deck to beat right now.
Yeah.
I do think Striker is going to be a contender. And come like November or whatever, when the next list comes out, I think if they want to adjust the format without like slaughtering anything, just put Colossus to 1. I never thought I'd be saying this, but unbanning a card might actually be a valid answer to the format. Because back in TOS format, Thunder Dragon was the one checking Striker.
Yeah.
You know what Colossus does. So Colossus is a walking mistake.
Okay.
and it took me way too long to realize that that was a reference to another card and not calling his design a mistake. But regardless, while he's on the field, your opponent cannot add cards from deck to hand except by drawing.
Ooh.
So it shuts off searching. Also, if he would be destroyed, you can banish, I think, a Thunder monster. I get him and Titan mixed up to protect him. So the answer to him and Thunder Dragons in general was, at the time, was Orcust, because you had Dingirsu who would just send him.
Yeah.
And I think if those two decks really become a problem and searching becomes rampant again, like overly searching. Like, I know searching is a part of Yu-Gi-Oh! That makes it Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yeah.
Going through your deck 15 times in one turn is what separates it from like Magic, Digimon, Pokemon, stuff like that. Yeah, that's what I mean. Like Dinos, Dragon Link. I don't understand why more people aren't main decking Droll. I get that it's more of a matchup specific card, but
It's actually really like viable to be whole.
yeah, I get it. It's, yeah, like I said, I think if those two decks become a problem, unbanning Colossus and putting it at 1 might be the actual answer here. Before we go on to the Rogue deck of the week, there was actually a small combo that I heard on MCole 40's video for Striker.
Mm-hmm.
Involves having 2 spells already in Grave, Engage, and Forbidden Droplet. You activate Engage, Chain Droplet, sending Engage. Do you know what ends up happening there? So Droplet, you negate whatever monster
Yeah.
and half its attack. Engage will then resolve, seeing 3 spells in Grave. So you'll add the card and then draw a card.
Oh, gee.
And then most likely you can summon Kagari, get Engage back, do it again. Yeah, I'm gonna go on to the Rogue deck of the week. This list was from MBT's 10-minute testing. I couldn't find like a digital version of Pack's list from the LCS, and we'll do like a small market watch thing after the Rogue deck, because I'm blaming him. Ignister Island has spiked, and I'm only blaming him because he's caused it before. Like, he's caused price spikes before. So our Rogue deck of the week is at Ignister, which got some new support in Lightning Overdrive that's actually making it really viable. This list obviously isn't like perfect, and honestly I think no list is perfect, but
Obviously, you have like your substitute thing that you
yeah, like
do.
3 Droplet is not like it's too expensive to just expect everybody to have 3 Droplet. You could sub in like Imperm, or Valor or something like that. It's not as strong, but it still negates a monster, and it's not $130. Also, I think what I've been seeing lately is people dropping Doyon here to 1, because this card by itself doesn't really do anything. It adds adding this monster from your graveyard back to your hand. So you would normal summon a Chi-Chi, the red one. Turn him into Dark Infant. Add the field spell. I think a Chi-Chi adds Picari. You would turn a Chi-Chi into Dark Infant, add the field spell, activate the field spell, use the field spell to summon out Picari. Picari adds, like, Idol Reborn, I Meet You, whichever one you want, to your hand. You link them into Wicked. It essentially all ends up ending on the Arrival Cybers. And, like, there's different combo paths to get him to, like, 3k, 4k, 6k. Because his attack is 1,000 times the material used.
Yeah.
And he is just generally unaffected. Oh, now it decided to load.
Nice.
So yeah, the deck essentially just ends on the Arrival. And a lot of decks aren't prepared to handle something that's generally unaffected and could honestly be sitting there at 6k. About the only thing getting over it at that point is either Boral Sword, which isn't really in the format right now, because of the other one that can take care of it, which is Access Code. But the only way Access Code is taking care of it is if you're using a Link 4 to make him, which, again, very few decks can actually do. I could see this deck topping out around, like, Tier 2 at this point, just because of the Towers monster here, the Arrival. I do think it's kind of weak to hand traps. Like, if you stop their access to Ignister Island, that's the card that's letting them special summon out all these monsters from their hand. Mm-hmm. I think if you can stop them getting to that, they'll have a hard time making their boss. But yeah, overall, I think it's a neat deck. Josh plays it, and it's gotten a lot more tools since he last played it. Like, it's a lot more consistent now between Signet Mining, I Meet You. Which, after seeing the King's Court list, god damn it, Konami. You really couldn't bring over Heat Soul. So the only reason people are running Fire Phoenix is because a Chi-Chi is a fire. So you activate I Meet You, reveal Fire Phoenix, grab a Chi-Chi. Because I Meet You, you have to grab whatever attribute you revealed.
Yeah.
Then you burn yourself for 2,300 in the end phase, but whatever. It's starting your plays. Yeah, that's the rogue deck of the week. And like I said, I can see it actually coming out of rogue and being like a tier 2 threat. And until people start siding Kaiju again, which I don't really know how good Kaiju are going to be this format. I know you have to watch out for Dragoon. Now you have to watch out for the Arrival.
Yeah.
But I guess we'll find out. The first really big event, I think, of the format is going to be the Remote Duel YCS, like the second weekend of July. So on to a bit of a market thing here. So I talked about Forbidden Droplet. This card is up to $120. It was at like $100 before the ban list, I think. And now, because Striker
back up.
Yep. I'm not even talking about this. That's just disgusting. Yeah. Like, that entire ulti line is... Well, sorry. 2 out of the 3 ultis in this pack are just disgusting price-wise. Let's do that. And high to low. As much as I would love 3 super rare Nervals. So yeah, there's your Cyber Dragon.
Oh, jeez.
250. and then poor little Firewall Dragon sitting down here at 65. I'm sorry, but when 65 is the cheapest ulti by almost $200, there's an issue.
Just a little bit.
Yeah, I would love to get 3 super rare Nervals, but not right now. Maybe see if the deck takes a tumble out of the meta and pick them up when they go down to like 3 or 4. I could see these going even higher. The Drytron cards. Virtual World might sneak back into the meta, honestly. It's a nice, like, I'll call it a mid-range deck. It's not super grindy, but it's also not like gonna OTK super frequently. That's another option that I've considered for this format. I have way too many decks that I can play for this format. Oh yeah, King of the Skull Servant's got a super rare reprint in this. I do think I still have a Skull Servant deck sitting around. I wouldn't play it, but it would be funny to get the rarity bump. Yeah, more Drytron stuff. Cyberstein. Lightning Overdrive. I actually just got a box earlier. $600 for Starlight Black Rose. Imagine if I had pulled one of those. Probably would have shit myself. I didn't pull any of this guy. I still want 3 of this card. I know people don't think it's good, but that just means more copies for me. I like the idea of the card. The issue for the card, a lot of people are complaining about this card. This card, it's the fact that you have to target 2 monsters. It's not up to 2, it's target 2.
Yeah.
Like, Twin Twisters is probably the closest comparison for it, and Twin Twisters is even up to 2. They're just missing 2 words can completely ruin a card. Diviner, this is probably going to spike once the format actually starts and Drytron starts to take over. Ultra rare time ticket. That was for the sneak peek that lasted for all of an hour at our locals. Boy Arlecchino, I have 3 of him now. And 2 Horror House. I'll have to get a 3rd Horror House. Gotta be careful with that one. I've seen a lot of talk about that. Mubeta Fafnir. As good as it is, sitting at $19 just because it's a one of. Certain decks, and I think it's Europe, have started throwing Rescue Cat into their Tri-Brigade builds.
That's interesting.
Yeah, so they'll try to bait like the Ash with Fractal, and then normal summon Cat and Cat effect, and get the 2 monsters and get the Karis and Kit. I'm glad I already have my 3. Because
yeah, they're starting to go up a little bit in price there.
Yeah. I think I have like 2 commons and a rare, or 2 rares and a common, something like that. Yeah, I'm glad I have mine. Holy crap. Let's go ahead and get some light play Turbo Pack Supers. And then let's check on Sky Striker stuff. Yeah, I'm just gonna ignore the super high end here and the ultis. I love this. The fact that Ultra Rare Rose is more expensive than Ulti Kaina. I understand. I haven't even moved Kaina back into my deck yet. I understand that Kaina's a one of, but in a lot of lists, so is Rose. I guess Kaina has also had like 3 or 4 printings.
Yeah.
But it's still an ulti. Like, I'd still expect it to be more. This was also up around 50 the other night. It's come back down to around 40. I was honestly sitting there going, do I want to play Striker or do I want to get paid? Because holy shit. 20 for Nearman Unlimited Engage. You're looking... that it still shows these. Uh, 17 for near mint first ed on Battles of Legend Widow Anchor. 20s on the unlimited for the originals. Then the gold Starks are still 16. You have 3 printings, and the cheapest ones are $16. Gee, you think people like the deck? Yeah, where is it here? Oh, Secret Shizuku, Super Shizuku are like the same price. Might as well just get the Secret. And, oh yeah, freaking... So this is all sorted by high to low from market.
Yeah.
Yeah. 37 for unlimited Afterburner Secret Rare from the original set. I get it, like, a lot of people loved this deck, but some of these prices people are willing to pay are just nuts. Speaking of which, what has Tri-Brigade settled in at? Dureg, 23, 24 for Fractal. That sounds about right. And then Shureg sitting around the same point. Everything else is pretty low rarity. Parajit sitting at 4. I thought this card was going to be bigger in the deck than it was. I have my 3 copies of that in case that ever gets needed. Also always curious. Easiest way to do this is just that, and then that. Always curious what the best selling stuff is. Shocker.
Yep.
Lightning Overdrive boxes.
King's Court boxes.
Yeah.
Sale. Of course, because you got the Lightning Storm in that.
Oh yeah, those are gonna start jumping up. Arlecchino. Hot. Market price of 107.
Glad I was able to pull my 3.
Yeah. How much did you spend pulling 3?
Honestly, probably the price of 2, I want to say. Maybe,
Okay.
Maybe. I don't know. I know that one box was just absolutely ridiculous.
I thought you went through like 8 boxes trying to pull those.
I think it was more like 5 or 6.
Yeah, that one box, what was that, like 5 cards in one pack and 15 in another?
Yeah, it was just really odd. Like, I got I got no rares in the one, and then, like, no hollows at all. And then the next pack, I had, like, 2 or 3. It was really weird. And then I pulled that Starlight Midoriya.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's
Miradora.
Miradora, that's what it was.
Dragon.
Yeah, pulled the Starlight off of that, and then next pack was a Prosperity, so I'm like, alright, well, I'm just not buying boxes anymore. This is weird.
Goes from the past display. This is gonna start going up, I feel.
People are looking to get that Ghost Rare Dark Magician.
Ghost Rare Crystal Wing.
Ghost Rare Crystal Wing?
Yeah, that's where it's at. And the time ticket. People are interested in the Amazement stuff. I think they're just having a hard time finding a home for it. I saw a list for like Amazement Subterror or Amazement Guru.
Mm-hmm.
That was pretty decent. It relied pretty heavily on floodgates like Summon Limit and Tikaboo. Because for some reason Arlecchino's a psychic. But it still seemed like an interesting deck. I'm thinking about throwing them into Altergeist.
Worth a shot.
See how that works.
And Drytron.
Drytron! The Deer Servant. Climbing back up a bit. It was down around 60 like a couple weeks ago.
Zeus.
I can see that coming down in price a little bit, especially if it gets a reprint in the tins.
Yeah.
Because it's not going to be as playable as it was. I mean, you can still just Borbo attack directly and pile him on. But I don't think Zoo as a deck is going to be as big anymore.
No.
Without Dryden. Slifer deck. That's a thing. If you want a Harpy's Feather Duster, you can pay $10 for it. access code. Jesus.
Whoa, he went up.
I feel like an idiot. So, when Eternity Code came out, I got 3 boxes.
Yeah.
I was able to get them cheaper than retail.
Yeah.
I pulled 2 access code.
Okay.
I sold him on release price, which was $60.
So you can't really give me crap for...
Listen, at least I sold it for what it was going for at the time.
What I was going for at the time?
You got like 50% retail.
What's it, 50%?
Probably, knowing the guy you sold him to.
Oh yeah, that's a good point.
Ulti Cyber Dragon. Yeah. The market's gonna be weird right now. Just because of like the new format, Nova. Like every page starts and ends on a Drytron. But yeah, the market's gonna be weird for probably like, I would go so far to say like next month, while people try to figure stuff out. Because you're gonna have the first hit, like the July 1st happen, the list comes out. I'm sure people are gonna start buying stuff like before that, and I'm sure they already have. You can see the Sky Striker prices going up, but you're gonna have people buying more stuff leading up to the Remote Dual YCS, which are gonna spike prices, and then the results from the Remote Dual YCS are gonna come out, which will probably drop a few prices of decks that were overhyped, but then bump up prices of decks that did well, assuming that those two aren't the same thing. Like, if this Remote Dual YCS happens and Striker, like, takes the whole thing, I do not want to see those prices.
No, definitely not.
I'm just glad I already have my deck.
Yeah.
So we want to end it on the useless card of the week, and we chose one from the most recent set, Lightning Overdrive, being 1x1. My first choice was the Otter from this set, Hitoshi Dashimashi. I don't remember the name.
Hitoshi Dashima.
It's
Damashi.
We were calling it Oshawott.
Yeah, it looks like Oshawott from Pokemon.
It's essentially summon a token once per turn. But it's at least a tuner. You can at least make Formula Synchron with it, I guess. 1x1 is a really bad 1-for-1 retrain. So send one monster from your hand or field to the graveyard, then target one of your level 1 monsters that is banished during your graveyard, except the monster sent to the graveyard. Add that monster to your hand, and it's a hard once per turn. I really don't see a ton of use for this, if any.
Yeah.
Even like thinking about like current meta decks, I guess you can add back an Archosaur.
But if you have one in hand, why would you send it to the grave just to get one from banished?
Well, no, this is assuming that you're sending a different monster. Like you're sending like a baby or something that would probably be more useful.
Why would
honestly.
you send baby?
That's what I'm saying. That was the worst like case scenario I could think of.
Yeah, that is. I mean, if you're dead set on getting UCT out, absolutely. Like, if you don't have the double Evo pill and you haven't drawn into UCT and you're kind of stuck,
yeah,
and you want to have that extender, that's that. But even then, getting rid of baby.
Even the card art for this is awful.
Because it's not even... Baby's effect wouldn't even go off, which just makes baby useless. Where you could, go into something else, That's just my opinion.
There's a reason that it was in the discussion for useless card of the week. Like I said, even the card art is awful. I'm pretty sure that's Sinister Serpent coming out of the Pot of Greed.
It definitely is. Is that Sinister Serpent or is that? Oh yeah.
I think it's Sinister Serpent.
I was gonna say Petite Dragon, but no, that's Sinister Serpent.
I'm pretty sure that's Sinister Serpent. I mean, hang on.
We will solve this mystery.
I think Petite Dragon is like yellow.
Yeah, he's like kind of yellowish. Okay.
Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure that's Sinister Serpent. What? Did I spell it wrong?
And
I can't spell.
Okay, you play Yu-Gi-Oh.
And that means I can't read.
Oh.
Yeah, I think that's definitely Sinister Serpent. It has like the yellow in the wings.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, what does even Sinister Serpent do?
Yo, he
What?
used to be busted. So Sinister Serpent got an errata. What he used to do is if he was in your graveyard during your standby phase, you could add him back to your hand. So he was just repeatable discard fodder.
Is 1x1 trying to bring back Sinister Serpent?
Well, no, because even Sinister Serpent was just a free add. Like, you weren't discarding one to add him.
Yeah, but
you were just adding him.
During your standby phase, if he exists in your graveyard,
you're going to turn it to your hand.
Yeah.
You know, the new errata makes him basically unplayable. You have to, like, banish one in order to add him back. Yeah, look at the difference in text box size. This card is in your graveyard. You can add it to your hand. Also, banish one Sinister Serpent from your graveyard during your opponent's next end phase. And then it's a hard once per turn.
Yeah.
So it's just it's not nearly as good.
Just like it's, the card that he's featured on.
Now, yeah. I just stop. I guess you can't just stop making bad cards. That's 75% of set lists anymore.
That's basically all it is. It's literally Sinister Serpent's effect on a trap.
Even then, it's Sinister Serpent, but worse.
Yeah.
Like, it's not worth playing in any deck. I think that's gonna be, like, the criteria for useless card of the week going forward.
Yeah.
If you guys have any other recommendations for useless card of the week, like maybe older ones that I might be overlooking, leave them in the comments, and I'll be sure to look them up and add them to the list. But yeah, I think that's gonna wrap it up for the first episode of our new format, Casual Cast. I don't think I missed anything. I actually had an outline this time.
Yep.
This was Kyle.
Me. That was Zach.
I'll see you next time.
See you guys.